We start now with Mr. Aristotle, and he's the first guy to define philosophy, the love of wisdom, I guess. Apparently, someone did it before him. Someone say, I'm sure that word existed among Greeks a lot earlier than Aristotle. Okay, so what does Aristotle, good old Ari, say about philosophy? What is philosophy? He says all men consider philosophy, love of wisdom, right, as concerned with first causes and principles. Okay, wisdom is knowledge about certain principles and causes. Well, we got a problem. We got a serious problem right there because causes belongs to physics, not to philosophy. Okay, and yeah, Aristotle mixed all those. He wrote books where he started talking about physics and what exists and what an object is, and then went all the way and introduced the observers all the way and what we can prove and what evidence we have. And again, mixing that with the foundations is where the problem lies. And then he talked about knowledge. To this day, we have not been able to define the word knowledge. You can look it up. Don't take my word for it. Go to Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. You go to the Wikipedia, and they have all these long explanations of what knowledge is. No one has able to figure out what knowledge is. And so, yeah, I do define knowledge, what knowledge is. I'm going to get to that when I get to Ayn Rand's notion of knowledge. Okay, but I just want you to know that knowledge is a belief. Okay, according to how it's been used until today. Justified true belief from Plato. That's exactly what it means today. Nothing has changed at all. Okay, and so yeah, there's no improvement since the days of Plato and Aristotle. What else do I want to cover here today? Well, we're still having a problem. Well, here's the definition of philosophy that comes out of that we have from the Wikipedia. Okay, and it says philosophy, love of wisdom, is the study of general and fundamental questions about existence, knowledge, values, reason, mind, and language. Again, they mix it all, they bundle it all up, and they say, oh, it includes everything: existence, knowledge. No. And as a and these are the questions. Classical philosophical questions include: is it possible to know anything? What's that got to do with science? Is it possible to know? Means to believe anything. Yeah, I guess you can believe in anything you want. Is it possible to prove it, to introduce evidence and create a little club and say, well, this club believes in this knowledge and this other club believes in the opposite knowledge? I mean, you can have a club that says, yeah, God exists, and another club that says God doesn't exist. And in each one of these clubs, they introduce knowledge and they introduce evidence and they introduce all kinds of stuff. And who's right? I mean, we have these clubs already today, so is it possible to believe in anything? Yeah, I guess you can believe in anything you want. What is most real? Well, just define the word real and you'll know what is real. You want to know if God exists, define the word exist. Among also the word God, by the way. Is there a best way to live? Nonsense, absolute nonsense. That's not a question of philosophy. That's a question of it's a opinion. I think you should live this way. And then Trump says, no, I think you should live this other way. The bosses up there, they say how you should live. Okay? No, you live any way you want. I mean, these are recommendations. This has nothing to do really with explaining something, which is what science is about. You're not explaining anything by saying this is the way you should live. Okay? Is it better to be just or unjust? What does that have to do with anything? I mean, do humans have free will? What does that have to do with explaining? None of these things answer explanations. That's what science is about, and philosophy is one of the two branches of science. That's where we're going to draw the line between rational science and whatever came before. Okay, we have a paradigm shift. And of course, then you get to some people who do philosophy of science, okay? And again, philosophy of physics, philosophy of science. There's no such thing. And you can see here where we draw the line with these people. They say, it's a subfield of philosophy. Okay, they're going to talk about science. It's a subfield of philosophy, concerned with the foundations, methods, and implications of science. The central questions of this study concern what qualifies a science, as the reliability. Reliability means you're going to prove something, you're going to introduce evidence, and you're going to believe one thing and the other guy's going to believe something else. Is that what reliability refers to? We don't use reliability. We don't verify anything. We just have to state the definitions and what the objects are. That's it. There's no reliability about it. It says reliability of scientific theories and the ultimate purpose of science. This discipline overlaps with what? Metaphysics, ontology, and epistemology. Absolutely not. This is all stuff that the philosophers and the mathematicians created, where they say, well, how do you know that you know? And what exists? But what exists is not determined by what exists independent of the observer. Ontology is all related to what exists as related to the observer, sensations, and what you think exists. And then you have metaphysics, which is, I'm going to get to metaphysics in a little while, but for example, when it explores the relationship between science and truth. Truth? What is truth? Truth, what is true to you is a lie to me. There is no such thing as truth, and these people keep inserting knowledge, truth, sensations into every definition. And I like the last part. It says, there is no consensus among philosophers about many of the central problems concerned with the philosophy of science. Of course, because of what comes next, whether science can reveal the truth about unobservable things. Okay? And so what have we learned from all that? We learned that we don't know anything. People say, well, what can we know? Well, we never will know anything. Why? Because they never defined the terms. We were chasing our tails around for centuries and passing that down from one generation to another.